To start, I want to do a few introductions. Christian is going to put in the chat a link to a Google Sheet. And in that Google Sheet is a space for you to kind of introduce yourself so we see who all is here. And then, if you can, there's a spot for what region you're in. And for that, you can look at this map and put what number you're in. If you can't figure it out, you can just put your city, or if you're not in Colorado, you can go ahead and write in there what makes sense for you. But that is what that is asking. And I will give us all a minute to fill that out. For the folks who just joined, we are working on a Google Doc that is in the chat. If you can see that, you can go on there and fill that out. Right, looks like a lot of good successes, which is great. Getting folks connected to resources. Um, Shauna called out a couple of my also successes working on our new Colorado Fatherhood Network website and a training we're working on, and folks looking at training options for fathers to work as childcare providers. Awesome. So those of you who join can go ahead and keep filling that out. Also would love to see some of the challenges. And you're welcome to come back to this, after the call and kind of dig in more into what folks have said. Maybe one of your colleagues pointed out a success they've had. That's maybe one of your challenges, and you want to connect and see how you can collaborate. So I definitely encourage you to keep an eye on what everyone is putting in there and see where there may be some space for overlap. Um, but I will go ahead and move on. Our objectives with our call today. First, providing some updates on the Colorado Fatherhood Network. Then the bulk of our meeting will be on identifying how the network can support data and evaluation needs of practitioners. And throughout it all, hopefully, we can do some networking and connect with peers across the state. And to do that, our agenda will start with this welcome and overview. We will have some time for peer networking to connect. I have a brief update, and then our special presentation today is on CFN data collection and evaluation plan, and then we will wrap it up. So, our overview of the network, the Colorado Fatherhood Network is a father-focused, statewide, systems-level professional network for practitioners and programs working with fathers and families. The CFN provides connections, resources, education, evaluation, and advocacy to advance the field of fatherhood and family services. So we're going to go into some breakout rooms for some peer networking. So you'll be split into breakout rooms of 3 or 4. And in those meetings, or in those rooms, introduce yourself, your role, and your organization. Not required, but if you want a discussion topic, would be what feelings do the terms data and evaluation bring up for you? But if the conversation goes elsewhere, that is also fine. So you'll have 10 minutes in those rooms, and then we'll bring you back here. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I hope that was good time to get to know some folks here a little better. I would love to hear a little bit if anyone would be interested in sharing. If y'all did get to that discussion topic, any like thoughts on the terms data and evaluation? Um, Anything that those terms might bring up if y'all talked about it in the breakout rooms, or if not.
I'll share. This is Sarah Culp. My feelings with data, and I've used it. I've been working in this field particularly for about a little over 12 years now, particularly this parent employment and fatherhood. And my feeling is that it can be frustrating when you're working with it. And third party evaluators doing the data collection because we're in child support. We're bound by so many confidentiality rules, so we're not able to always get a clear picture of the work that's being done by the workers, by the parents, the dads. So it can be very frustrating trying to collect that data.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else have any feelings or thoughts with those terms?
Well, I can say that coming from a county or government sector, when the term data and evaluation comes up, it sometimes um, can be a little fearful feeling that you get somebody's going to be kind of evaluating what work you've been doing, how much you've been doing, how much of it is stuff that they can use in the future. You start kind of dealing with the fact that you are in human services, and we touched upon a little bit of this, based on a data person and a human services and working with folks. And when we're working with human services people and working with clients and customers and families and children, that's we don't tend to kind of focus on the number side of it versus when our data folks are needing numbers to run program searches to see how much is being done a certain area, or if we're putting different amounts of time or money into different programming, and if we need to change this or pivot it or even talk about staff and whatnot, kind of sends a little bit of fear down our backs with what we're doing and what we need to do, and what if we're going down the wrong path with a lot of our data and evaluation. But I think from another standpoint, when it comes to the data and evaluation, also uh, we're able to show the work that we're doing. We're I don't know whether we're working in a grant or we're working to get more funds to help support programming. If we can show that data that we know we're doing, this can help us fiscally with providing incentives, providing uh, more opportunity to hire more staff and stuff. So now I'm starting to ramble because I'm a data person now. I'm not really a data person. I'm not really a numbers person, but these are things that I'm having to focus on a little bit more currently.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. From my perspective, I do love data and evaluation. I'm definitely more of a numbers person. I love to like get in Excel, create some charts. That excites me. And kind of like you were saying, Alex, like to be able to show what work is being done, I think is really great. Like when we can see, when we can quantify and show this number of folks are being helped, or this is the impact that these services are having, I think it's exciting, and it can lead to like different opportunities, or showing funders, or showing different folks what work is being done. That said, it is I think all of the other feelings are totally valid too. It can be scary, it can be frustrating, it can be time consuming, it can be all sorts of different things. So um just wanted to kind of level set with those feelings from the start, and know that we all have different feelings about this topic. But hopefully we'll find some things that we can do to support that are going to work for everybody, and really support the network. So, before we dive into the data and evaluation, I do have one update on the CFN technical assistance. You may or may not know that the CFN can provide technical assistance to support your program on any things you may be struggling with. We're talking about data and evaluation today, so if that makes you think that you would like to improve your data and evaluation practices, we would love to support you with that. But it could be other things. It could be building partnerships or recruitment, or I don't know, whatever it might be. Please do reach out to me. My email is in the chat, and we can figure out how to support you, who on our side might be the best to support you, what that support might look like. Happy to talk through that, but did want to make sure you all know that we are available for that, and would love to support in whatever way we can. All right, we are going to dive into our main topic today, which is CFN data collection and our evaluation plan. So, the CFN leadership has had a priority for understanding statewide and local program and practitioner challenges and successes, and for successfully messaging the impact of your programs and services so we can advocate for increased father engagement and for sustaining programs. So, today we want to share some of the current data collection activities that we have been conducting for several years, and we also want to share and get started on some next steps as the CFN works towards expanding our data collection and evaluation measures, so that we can also expand the messaging of your impact on both the local and statewide levels. So I'm going to pass over to Alex to talk a little bit about how this fits in. Alex, you are on mute.
Okay, there we go. All right, so this slide shows a little bit of the Colorado Fatherhood Network's key priority areas. Evaluation is one of the key priority areas, so it was identified by the CFN to be a main priority. So data and evaluation also feeds into other key priority areas. Awareness, communication, this helps us to know what's happening in the state so we can communicate it well. Fatherhood programming, when we know the strengths and challenges, we can help support fatherhood programming. And policy and advocacy, knowing what works and what doesn't is important so we know what to advocate for. So on the next slide here, the Colorado Fatherhood Network leadership team has created these strategic goals to guide our work. These are a few places where the evaluation fits in. So you have the strategic goals. Goal 1, the CFN leadership will promote the benefits of fatherhood involvement in families, programs, organizations, communities, and systems. 1A, CFN leadership will identify and promote the benefits of father involvement among CFN participants and supporters. Goal 3, CFN will, with the support of the leadership team, will promote fatherhood and family services best practices and emerging best practices and resources to CFN participants. And goal 4, CFN leadership will explore strategies for sustainability of the network. 4D leadership will increase awareness of CFN and participants through statewide advocacy efforts. All right.
Okay, so the CFN leadership team worked with Terry Haymond in 2022 and 2023 to create an evaluation plan. This plan was focused on measuring the effectiveness of CFN support and resources. During this period, a logic model was created to guide the development of approaches, activities, outcomes, and impact. One of these approaches is data-driven programming, and the corresponding activity is evaluation. The objectives for evaluation listed in the logic model are shown here in this box. So to identify data priorities, explore data tracking options, and build processes to track CFN strategic goals. Original work to accomplish the last bullet was detailed in the existing evaluation plan and included processes to track attendance and satisfaction related to webinars, trainings, and convenings. Additionally, resources have been developed over the last several years, such as the CFN website and numerous tip sheets. And finally, an early survey was conducted in 2022 to better understand the data collection capacity of CFN member organizations. So today, the CFN is ready to begin working on the first 2 bullets in the evaluation box, and we want to present some next steps for you as well as update the information about your current data collection efforts.
All right, so as we refine and update the CFN evaluation plan, the network will continue to evaluate goal 1 and refine activities as the participation and satisfaction data indicates. During the next year, CFN will add goal 2 to their evaluation plan, which is to identify data priorities and tracking options. Activities to meet this goal will include promote evaluation best practices, identify prioritized data points across the network, create a data collection and analysis plan, and to market evaluation results and network impact. And next, we're going to hand it over to Virginia Howey, who is a consultant working with CFN to finalize our evaluation plan.
Thank you, Alex. I've been working with nonprofit organizations to think through their data collection and evaluation processes for about 20 years, including working with the Fatherhood Network for the last 6 years. So I'm happy to be here today to help you start to think about how we can help them meet their strategic goal. So when we think of program evaluation, it's a systematic approach that collects and analyzes data to help you determine several things. But one of those is to determine if a program that you're implementing is being implemented with fidelity, especially if you are implementing a program that has been proven to be effective. You want to know that you are following fidelity measures for that program. You'll also want to collect and analyze data to determine if your program is achieving its objectives and intended results. Are fathers and their families benefiting from your program? Do your program outcomes justify the time, energy, the resources, the funding that you're dedicating to that program? And then after reviewing your data, it will help you identify potential areas for providing more different support to your staff or other ways to improve your program so that you are maximizing the benefit to families and dads. Next slide. So your data analysis and evaluation will only be as good as the data collection procedures that are in place. And to ensure the accuracy and reliability of your data, you'll want to have policies and procedures in place that regularly check for each of these items. Validity. Are you collecting the right data in the right format to track the goals, objectives, and outcomes that you're working toward? Is your data consistent? Are your data entry guidelines clear? You'll want to determine which data points are required and which ones may be optional based on the priority of your evaluation outcomes. Next, you'll want to see if it's accurate. Are your data collection methods reliable? Can you depend on the data entered to reflect the service you are providing? Is it complete? Do you know if there's missing data? Are the required data entry points clearly articulated to staff? If missing or inaccurate data will make your evaluation efforts virtually meaningless. And then, is your data timely? Are data entered within a reasonable time? Are those timelines clearly articulated in your guidelines? And does someone have a clear role and responsibility to audit your data regularly to assure that it's complete and accurate and timely? And then finally, at the end of the day, is it usable? Is your data platform system accessible, and does it provide access to useful reports? There should be a regular process for a team of staff in your organization to review the data system's usability and to assure that you can pull the reports that you need when you need them. If not, your system needs refining or perhaps even replaced, upgraded. Next, please. So there are two types of data collection, and even from our intro activity, I heard quite a bit of discussion around this, the tension between qualitative data and quantitative. So quantitative is those numbers, participants, demographics, how many times they attended a class, a workshop, did they complete it, are there pre and post tests, the number piece. And then qualitative, both pieces of data are equally valuable in seeing the whole picture. The qualitative data piece is based on observations, experiences. So you might have satisfaction surveys or questionnaires. You might convene a focus group of participants. What did they learn? What worked for them? How could you improve your program? Interviews, even, or staff observations. This is an opportunity to really gather the parent, participant voice to tell that richer story. And if you're interested, we could spend a little bit of time in another session really digging down to how do you gather the two different kinds of data. Let's see, to get that whole picture that this numbers may not always tell. And then finally, what are your data storage methods? Wherever you are in the spectrum of collecting and storing data, whether it's recorded manually on paper or in a cloud-based medium, ranging from a Dropbox of Word documents, or a shared Google spreadsheet, or if you're actually using centralized data system. Your data needs to be usable in order to analyze it for family level or for program level outcomes and reporting. So it will need to be collectible, your data, and summarized in a way that's usable. Next, please. So data collection and data entry takes time. Time that staff frequently prefer to spend working directly with fathers and families. So why would you spend the time, energy, and resources needed to collect information from lots of different sources in different ways, enter that data into a system, and then analyze and use the data to evaluate your programs? There are many benefits, many ways of using your data that can range from your benefiting your program and organization. It certainly can benefit families that you serve, can benefit your local community, and it helps the state hear what our evaluation findings are as they make policies and funding decisions that affect your programs. So program evaluation results can be used to assure accountability to your community, to funders, to the state. It can inform your decision making at the organizational level, local and state levels, and at the program level, right? It can build organizational capacity, certainly at the local level for your programs, but it can also build the capacity of CFN to have this information about your programs. They can then market your outcomes and positive impact for participants as you can at the local level. And it will help you secure funding, both for your local programs and for the network. And finally, it can generate and inform policy at the local level and at the state level. Are there any questions before we move on? Comments? Okay, if not, let's move to our next task here today. So as mentioned earlier, one of CFN's current strategic goals is to understand and message best practices and program outcomes in fatherhood service delivery across the state to increase their ability to advocate for the network's impact and program sustainability. So today, we want to develop, as we begin to develop goals for the objectives for this goal, we want to learn more about each of your programs, data collection and evaluation approaches. And specifically, we have a survey that we're going to ask you to complete to tell us what data you're currently collecting, how you are collecting that data, and what data would be useful to you that you may not even have at your fingertips right now, and which foundational evaluation tools are in place at your organization. And we're asking you to complete this survey for about the next 10 minutes. And if you don't have sufficient time to answer the questions, if you keep the survey open on your browser, you can complete it after the call. Additionally, we're also going to send the link out to the entire network later this week. So if there are others in your organization that should be completing this survey, we'll allow a couple of weeks for that. and also for anybody who's not with us today. Please do come back to the call after you complete the survey, as we have some next steps, including an opportunity to serve on a time-limited committee to help develop the objectives for this goal. So the network can increase their ability to message your reach and impact. The survey link was just dropped in the chat box. So if you start the survey now, please return after you finish. Thank you.